syndicate and the BIS and the IMF.
And so he's going to go over there. I mean, he made a wonderful speech last year at Davos, and he's going to
have another. I think he's going to have another barn burner this year.
I think that he's going to basically mark his territory and put the blame where it belongs. I think with all this this massive immigration that they're trying to destroy everything. Now you got Merkel in your face. You have to give up your national sovereignty. I mean, what is that, Dave? They're now in your face.
Well, and again, this, I believe, is not coming from a position of strength.
The Davos thing.
Yeah, I think she's coming at it from a position of weakness.
And you think that he's there at Davos for what big reason? What business do you think, or do your sources think, is going to get done at Davos? I mean, we got to be getting close here, aren't we?
Now, you know what I think? I think this is going to be a reenactment of the George H.W. Bush funeral. I think they're going to be put on notice. I think he's going to drop, and it might be in private, but I bet you he's going to put some cookies out there for everybody in public, and he's going to drop some stuff, and it's and these world leaders. You watch how they watch. Don't listen to what they say. Watch how they react. I believe you're going to see at that Davos meeting some of these world leaders acting like Hillary when she opened her envelope, when the Bidens opened their envelope, when the Obamas opened their envelope, and how Jeb Bush acted and Laura Bush acted when they saw the note that was written. I think you're going to see a lot of, don't listen to what they say, those leaders, if you want to call them leaders, those criminals, watch how they act. And I think there's going to be a lot of wide-eyed zombification going on there after he's done with them.
They sold out their country.
He's showing up with a show of force.
They sold out their countries with Iran, just the Iran deal. They should all be in jail. Great Britain, Macron, Merkel, they sold out. They took bribes from Iran. This is according to a top advisor.
Surprise anybody? Look at Merkel's background. Look at Macron's background. Macron was a banker for the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
I mean, so everybody's like, oh, well, look, he's bringing these globalists, Wilbur Ross with him, and Steve Mnuchin. Well, that's one way to look at it. Here's the other way to look at it. He's bringing his hostages from the globalist state with him. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, see, they knew this was going to go down. They knew, but they thought Hillary would be in when this came down. They did not.
And she would not have put the supporting structures underneath the system because she was fine with the system coming down because that was the plan. And as the system came down, the more people that were harmed, the better. Because that's the globalist business model.
And she would have sold Alaska back to the Russians. She would have given up Hawaii, except for one island for Obama. I keep saying that. She would have let the Chinese move into the West Coast. She would have just Texas and New Mexico and California would be given to Hispanic people or the criminals, the drug cartels. The Hispanic people are fine. The cartels are terrible.
And it just goes back to what we talked of earlier. What she did as Secretary of State, right? She weaponized Al-Qaeda. She weaponized ISIS. She led to their development.
She didn't care about her protection her server because she didn't care about America.
Well, and again, the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, presented information at the hearing. Remember when Louis Gohmert asked him these questions, that at least 10,000 of her emails fell into foreign hands, including what was brought up at that hearing, China.
Yeah.
Okay, so to all those people that say, go back to how we started this, that Horowitz is part of the problem and he's a scam and he's cover and nothing. At that hearing, Horowitz brought out that at least 10,000 emails from Hillary's server were handed to another country, and that country being China.
People died over that.
And there are 18 intelligence agents associated with the United States that died because of that.
We had a doctor in Iran that got hung because his name went through her server.
Right.
He had an asset in Iran that got hung.
Yes. So,
I mean, the reset, the dollar reset. Are we going to get a reset in the dollar after? I don't think it's going to be before the Davos thing. There's business to be done in Davos. So
you know what, Greg? When it comes to timing, here's the thing. This is where everybody gets messed up on. is that go back to the declassification thing you and I talked, right? I was told that after the primaries, after the first week of September, the declassification thing was going to occur. Okay, and then after declassification, some, not all, some of the indictments would be unsealed, and then we'd see criminal cases brought and cases in front of military tribunals. Okay, September 17th, week after 10 days after the primaries were finished, Donald Trump came out and said, I want these entities declassified. And you and I have talked about that. FISA warrants of Carter Page, the 302 forms of Bruce Orr, fourth in command at the Department of Justice under Obama, and the third thing being the text messages between McCabe and emails and texts and emails between McCabe and Comey.
And this will show treason was done.
Well, it's going to show a number of things. The FISA warrants were going to show that Loretta Lynch approved the first one. It never went in front of the FISA court. The text messages could well show that there was some planning of violence against the president. And the 302 forms, I believe, of Bruce Orr will show that actually Bruce Orr was one of the writers of the fake Russian dossier. They all pin it on Steele, and Steele was involved in that, obviously, and actually recently testified in the London court that the reason why the dossier was created, this is him under oath in the London court, was to utilize, for Hillary to utilize in overturning the election. Okay, but the Orr thing is going to show that he was one of the writers.
The DOJ, the fourth highest guy.
Obama's DOJ, right? And that the White House, the West Wing of the White House, was involved in knowing that this was in true happening. In other words, involved in sedition. Okay, so Trump came out September 17th, said, "I want these declassified and unredacted." And then what happened, and this is what ultimately I believe led to Sessions going, was that Sessions, and we've talked about this in previous interviews, Sessions slow-walked that declassification process. Because of that, he resigned. We now have Matt Whitaker, as the acting AG. Just this past week, it was determined that by two ethics boards, I believe, in the Department of Justice that reviewed all this, and Whitaker and his previous statements and all that stuff, that in fact he can oversee the Mueller investigation, and in fact, I believe has the jurisdiction to push through with the declassification. But understand something: Trump could do that today. Okay, he could do it today as the chief executive officer of the United States, as the president of the United States. He could say, "I want it." He said it on September 17th, and then they said, "Oh, let's flow walk this through." He could do it today, and the only reason why I believe it hasn't happened as of today is because he believes the timing is not right for it to happen. Okay, and there's only one person. You can wish it, I can wish it. Our sources can tell us, "Hey, this is going to happen." But as far as the exact date, there's only one person that can determine when that happens, and that's Donald Trump.
You think he's going to ultimately do it? He has to.
I do believe, because
his family dies.
Classification process, because I believe it opens Pandora's box. I believe it opens what really General Flynn was involved with. I believe it exonerates General Flynn, that entire declassification process. I believe it shows sedition and treasonous activities by the Obama administration, including Barack Obama himself. I believe it shows that the FBI director was involved in not only sedition, but actually in some nefarious activities, discussions about removing an existing president from office. I believe it's about the abuse by an attorney general, Loretta Lynch, of the FISA courts. I also believe it shows that the judges that didn't raise their hand and say this is a problem, what's going on here, are courts being used. It also points the finger at them. So I believe there are a tremendous number of ramifications for this. But the only person who can determine, so he said it September 17th, and it still hasn't happened. And I believe the reason it hasn't happened isn't because so-and-so's wrong or so-and-so's sources are wrong. It's because the person who is the one person that makes that decision, Donald J. Trump, has decided it's not time yet.
And the people are going to go to jail over this, right? I mean, these people are going to get prosecuted, and they're going to confiscate assets. I mean, he put out at least two executive orders that I know of, that December 21st, 2017, and another one about voting and about interfering in elections. They're going to confiscate assets
Yes, and it's also my understanding that December 21st, 2017 executive order was again reissued recently.
So he intends to, that's a big component, having the Treasury come in and say, yeah, all your stuff, it's ours. You committed this act, we're taking your stuff. I mean, they're going to freeze bank accounts, they're going to take property.
It easily pays for the wall.
Well, that wall times, 1,000.
And here's the other thing about the wall, right? The wall's being built.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying, well, the wall's not happening, and the wall's it's not going to happen, and Ann Coulter, she went off the blah blah blah. Well, as I understand it, the Department of Homeland Security is overseeing a 20-mile piece of the wall, 30 feet tall, west of El Paso. It has a 6 feet deep concrete footings and 4 feet wide footings, so they can't tunnel underneath it. It's also my understanding that while the president was in the Oval Office over Christmas, waiting for the Democrats to come back with the $5 billion in funding, that he signed a contract for, I think, 115 miles more of the wall. Now remember, we previously passed this funding bill for the military, who obviously can be involved with the Army Corps of Engineers in building the wall.
He's got discretionary funds.
My dad, when he was in the military, was part of the Army Corps of Engineers. And he said, yeah, we were building stuff all over the place, and all over the country. So I believe the Army Corps of Engineers is involved. We know the Department of Homeland Security is involved. He just signed a contract for 115 miles of the wall. So, what this whole government shutdown's about is, number one, it's a globalist nightmare. The government has been shut down now for a week.
He tweeted out,
who's noticed?
And he's tweeted out that, hey, Democrats, the people that are not getting paid are people who voted for you. And 96% voted for, Hillary Clinton, the criminal in Washington D.C.
Right, and the globalist played in his hands, because what he's showing is that the government shut down, and is anybody having any problems here? So the question is, what do these people do? And that's part of what he's trying to do here. And he's also trying to point the finger at the globalists, saying, look, and remember, he has said human trafficking more in the past 2 weeks than he has. I mean, he's said it a lot over his presidency, but it's almost 24/7 when the wall's about human trafficking, about drug trafficking, and about keeping people safe, right? And he's been hammering that. And anyone who's against the wall is against those entities. And what's crazy
is for those entities.
The Schumers and the Pelosi.
Anybody who's against the wall is for human trafficking, for the drug cartels, for the people. They're for the evil and crime if you don't want a wall.
And what's crazy is the globalists think that they're winning this argument. And now we have a police officer who was a legal immigrant, I believe in California,
got murdered.
Just murdered by an illegal.
Yeah, a shootout.
So his response is, look, I'm trying to prevent this, and these folks are telling me that it's okay.
Yeah.
So every day that goes by, the bought off lamestream fake media want to tell you that this is hurting Trump, that this is hurting the nationalist movement. This is hurting. I don't see it.
I don't either. The currency reset. We're going to get a currency reset, right? Are we going to get more gold and silver involved in this reset? A lot of people are saying, Jim Rickards, for one, a financial expert, says, the gold price is going to have to be about $10,000 an ounce. That's what's going to have to happen. We're going to have to revalue. Have you heard from your sources they have a plan B for the currency?
Well, what I've heard is that the only way to solidify the financial system is to tie the currency of a country to something fixed and something that has long-term value. And that's gold and silver. So I believe in order to fix the financial system that the globalists have destroyed, there has to be a reset, and that reset has to be tied to something that has been seen as having physical value for what, 5,000 years, and that's gold and silver.
You think they'll be talking about this at Davos at the Global Economic Forum, the 22nd through the 25th of January?
I think it was probably also discussed at the G20 meeting recently in Argentina. And I believe that it is a topic of discussion that is just not reserved for those large events, that it's an ongoing discussion that happens on a daily basis.
Would you go out on a limb and say this is the year the people that created all this treason and fraud, I mean, from the gun running to the Iran no signature deal fraud to the the criminality of the voter fraud? We haven't even talked about that. What about the voter fraud? When's that? What are we going to get? What are we going to get on that?
Well, what I was told about the 2018 voter fraud was that, and a lot of people disagree with me on this, and a lot of people send me nasty emails about this. I can only tell you what I've been told, and what I've been told is that there were significant voter, not only irregularities, but criminal acts, and that the 2018 election was used to catch these people, and that these people, some are in the process of being prosecuted. Some are being flipped to get up to people higher above them of where this all emanated from. But the ultimate goal of the 2018 election fraud that was caught is to utilize this to make sure and to ensure that the 2020 election is sound.
Wow.
Granted, there will be some type of voter irregularity in 2020, but not to the level it was in 2018 or the level it was in 2016. But I have not been told that there have been for example, folks say, well, we understand that the 2016 election or 2018 election is going to be overturned. About all these events that happened in California and Orange County and the like. And frankly, I would be good with that, but that's not what I'm hearing.
And the last question, then we're going to wrap it up. This is a long interview, and there's not going to be any other interview, folks. This is it, so watch it all. Would you go out on a limb and say 2019 is the year that the hammer of justice is going to fall on the globalists and the traitors who have been running America for not just in the last 8 years, but for the last, 25, 30, 40 years? Is the hammer of justice going to fall in 2019?
So the answer to that, I believe, is yes. And I believe it has to be, I believe if it doesn't, it will have meant that the globalists won. The system, the financial system, as we've discussed, is vapor. It's not even smoke and mirrors. And the system that's constructed of that nature cannot survive. And if we look at what's happening in the stock market, down 400, down 600, up 1,000, up 200, down 500.
Wow,
the other day it was down 600 points, and in 1 hour it went from down 600 to plus 200. That's not the vital signs of a stable financial system. That's the indication of a system that's breaking or is actually broken. And the system, the financial system, and I also believe if you call it the political system, is equally as dire shape. And I believe it's going to happen one way or the other. And it's going to happen, I think, sooner rather than later, that the system is either going to be held together and there is going to be some fallout. It's not going to be a smooth ride, but hopefully the bumpy part of that ride is going to be several weeks, maybe several months, but not longer than that. And then we'll come out of this and we'll be in much better shape. But if we don't see things happening, I believe what it's going to mean is the globalists were able to get back control. I think right now they don't have control. I think that they would be if things keep plodding along, that it means that the globalists have gotten control back of the Rothschild Rockefeller silo of globalists have gotten back control of the system. And I do think nobody wants to look forward to a surgical procedure But in this case, I believe we're in the early process of going through a surgical procedure, and we need to cut out the cancer that's been there for well over 100 years in our country. And that can be a bit painful in the process, and this is why every person cannot sit back. They have to be actively involved. And if that actively involved means that they start their own YouTube channel, if it means that they are talking to their friends or just their family, if it means that they're trying to educate their coworkers or doing things around their community, this is all beneficial to having a system when we're done that people are better off. But people cannot just sit back, and they just can't be sitting back and complaining. They have to try to do what they can to educate as many people as possible as to what's really going on, and try to get people to move away from the bought-off mainstream fake media, because that's misinformation, disinformation, and actually trying to keep people completely in the dark, because it makes them easier targets and victims of the globalist syndicate. And
you think the starting pistol, though, when you know that when it's going to really hit the fan, is when that declassification hits. You think that's step number one: declassify the criminality, the treason of the FISA courts and the documents used to spy on an incoming president and his team and his administration before and after he was elected. You think that the declassification is going to be the big starting pistol, and then we're off to the races?
Yeah, I think that the process has already begun, and I believe Trump fired that shot on September 17th. And it's a shot that has echoed but hasn't hit yet. And I believe once that declassification occurs, that's President Trump signaling, and the people behind him signaling, okay, all the pieces are in place. It's all set. Now it's time to go.
And you think it's coming in 2019?
I don't think our country, I don't think the world can survive if it doesn't.
I'll take that. Dave Janda, your radio show, Operation Freedom. It's on Sundays from 2 to 5. It's live streaming. You also have a premium channel because you still haven't been monetized. And your stuff's been stolen. I'm going to say this for you. Your stuff has been stolen on YouTube. They monetize your material, your copyrighted material. They monetize it, and you ask, hey, can I get monetized? Oh, well, no, you've been on for I don't know how long, and you still can't monetize, cannot get any revenue from the videos you produce to the public for free. But they told you can't monetize because other people are already doing it. It's already out there. This is why you have a premium channel that you can give people great content and also keep the lights on, right?
Right. As you know, Greg, it's expensive to, everybody thinks this is all for free, and for you to have a website with the IT infrastructure, with the hosting, with all the security, with my radio show, for the studio time, for the production time that I have to pay for, there are costs associated with that. And I, as an orthopedic surgeon, when I was working before I retired, I was covering those many thousands of dollars every month. I'm now retired, and I obviously could not afford to cover that. So I had a decision to make about a year ago, and that was to start a premium channel. So we have a tremendous amount of free information at davejanda.com. The radio show is free. Folks can stream that. The YouTubes are free. As you said, I'm not monetized. We applied. We heard we finally heard after 11 months we were not approved for monetization, and the reason is a number of channels have stolen my original content, have uploaded it on their channels that are already monetized. They're getting paid advertising revenue for my original content, of which I haven't approved, and now I'm not monetized because my original content is seen as being duplicate of my stolen content that's on those channels. Right? So this is just another way of trying to starve out voices that don't fit into the globalist business model. Now, so with our premium channel, we have extra shows. We have access to all of our, so the radio show is free, but the podcasts are on the premium channel, 24/7 availability. Our WTF show, which is a geopolitical analysis show, video show. Our interview show, of which you've been a valued guest on our interview show, Insider Insight show. We have our healthcare symposium series there, and our contributing editor section. That's part of our premium channel. That's 30 cents a day or $9 a month. Folks they don't have to sign up for a year. They can sign up for a month. If they don't like it, get rid of it, but not sure why they would, because again, the sources that I've developed over the past 30 years are very unique. I don't know anybody else who has that background of sources to present that information. But that's how I'm able to keep putting out the free YouTubes, because I'm not getting monetized there, and this is the only way we have to make ends meet. So again, we'd appreciate folks joining our Freedom family. I appreciate, Greg, everything that you do, not just with your show, but being a very good friend of mine, and always giving access to the information that we'd like to get out there to folks on a number of issues that I believe the fake media will never present.
Well, Dave,